Alternate Battlegrounds is a game that is deeply personal to me. I have played the game since day one, literally the day it came out publicly. It was also the first video I ever posted to the channel, and the first video I ever actually tried to, make an actual good YouTube video. And I can confirm, it was an attempt. And I have to say, Alternate Battlegrounds, or AB, is probably one of the best fighting games I've ever played, at least on Roblox. The combat was fluid, there was a variety of characters, the mechanics were simple to understand, but if you mastered them, you'd be unstoppable, and every character had more or less a different playstyle. Some even making you switch up halfway through different phases. The game was addicting. Still is, though now the only people that populate the servers are exploiters or clans waiting to jump anyone they don't know. Although, to be fair, AB has been dying for a while at this point, there was a new game in the works, a spiritual successor to AB that would take everything that made AB good and make it better, with innovation, better graphics, and smoother gameplay. For those of you who don't know, AB is an Undertale fighting game which aimed to be a fan game of a different Undertale fighting game called Soul Shatterers, which declined in popularity a lot by the time AB had come out. As of today, it features 7 different characters: Asgore, who is the tank that doesn't do much damage but can absolutely damage soak, Sans, who is a zoner type character that struggles to start a combo but does massive damage, GT Frisk and Gaster, who are both rushdowns more or less with different mechanics, Cross and X Frisk, who are both weird mixes of offense and defense, SSC, who is a glass cannon, and the Fun Gang, who is the technical part of the group. They all have a role to play in AB, and for the most part, the game was fairly balanced. Now, you take the already immaculate gameplay of AB and make it even better, and look better. Hell, that's a net positive. So we waited, and waited, and waited. For 3 years, I do believe. Call of Duties have a smaller developer cycle than the new version of AB, coined ABA. And it finally released not too long ago. And I have to say, yeah, I'm not impressed, and apparently a lot of people aren't. But instead of just saying, oh, ABA is bad, I actually want to provide a more in-depth look into why AB worked and why ABA is failing. Because, well, I did play the OG game very competitively. My power scaling was whack, but I was an extremely good cross-main, so I believe I can provide more of an in-depth look into the mechanics of both, and show why ABA just doesn't really hold up to AB, at least in terms of being a spiritual successor. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Subscribe and join the community Discord, and let's not waste any more time and hop into the video. So, I guess to start off a video like this, we have to talk about the core mechanics of each game, how the fights feel in both of the different games. After all, that is probably the most important part of a fighting game, the fights. In AB Legacy, the fights were undeniably a little slow, but that's what made them so interesting. The main thing that you had to be good at was something called M1 trades, where you were constantly close to the person that you were fighting, exchanging M1s and blocks until someone messed up. This was the biggest skill in AB Legacy that you needed. Without it, you couldn't really succeed unless you were a Gaster, because Integrity 1 was actually low-key a bitch. It required you to know spacing, how much stamina and mana you have. It was quite a lot. Resource management in fighting games is always fun. You can even build characters around this whole shtick, like AB did for SSC, who had high damage but very low mana. The game had a lot of nuance, where no fight ever felt the same. I could fight 3 different crossplayers and they'd all play at least a little differently. Alternate Battlegrounds A is different from AB though. Where AB was fluid, every mechanic felt fleshed out, and every character was more or less balanced, ABA is everything AB isn't, and not in a good way. The game, first off, feels very clunky to play. Like, take for example M1 trades. In ABA, they simply don't exist. The closest thing you can get to them is dashing out of M1s. You can't clash out of them most of the time, which takes the whole mind game out of it against characters with counters as well. Like, that was a huge part of GT Frisk's game plan. The main mechanic that showed your skill and was the most skill expressive is not present in ABA, or at least in a way that matters in most fights. Instead, the game has every character have like 4 neutrals that they can use in combat. This is exactly the reason most people hated fighting Gaster in AB Legacy, by the way. It takes so much nuance out of the game and just makes the game about who can spam their neutrals better. Even things that were like a staple in AB, such as blocking, don't feel good to do in ABA. In AB, the blocking feels very fluid. You press F and you block. You can do it after M1ing, and it was a huge staple of M1 trades. Especially if you timed it right, you got a perfect block, which stunned the opponent and gave you a free combo. Perfect blocking just barely exists in ABA. I can go several fights without seeing one, either against me or one that I pull off. Because of this, the game just ends up being, as I said before, neutral spam. This is also made more apparent because a lot of the neutrals predict where you're going to go, such as Asgore's Trident. They really doubled down on neutrals being a huge part of the game. which I don't really jive with. It makes the game feel so samey for every character. I mean, when every character hinges on their neutrals instead of playstyle, then it is very hard to make the game feel like it has variety. Outside of the different combos you can make with the cast, of course. The only character that feels unique is Sans because he's so much more of a spammy character. And honestly, I like that he's unique compared to the others, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the M1 trading in this game is non-existent. I mean, good luck catching someone with your M1s, because let's be honest, in ABA, you're not catching people with M1s. Actually, I do want to take a moment to show off a major difference in the game's resource management, specifically with the mana and stamina. In AB Legacy, there's a lot that goes into managing the mana and stamina. If you ever get caught without mana, you're losing a huge chunk of your health in something called a mana punish, because it takes forever for you to get up if you had no mana. Likewise, stamina was equally as important, and it drained just as fast. It was used up in both dashes and while running, which, makes sense. And you couldn't see the opponent's stamina, which gave it sort of a mind game aspect to it as well. The resource management in AB was very important, and in ABA they kind of just stripped that away. I don't play ABA and think, oh no, I need to conserve my mana, because I don't. Because every move in most of the kits just combos into each other anyway. There really isn't a huge push for mana punishes. Without the mana punishing and need to really conserve your mana, it makes the game feel like a watered down. Because in ABA you don't even lose stamina while running, it's only taken by dashing, meaning you could theoretically run forever. The thing about this though is that to offset this, they made it to where if you just run for a long time, you just slow down, which is more annoying than anything because it just makes doing combos in ABA more annoying. Before I go further, I do want to point out, the game looks absolutely gorgeous. The UI looks incredible, the graphics are amazing, the effects are insane, the art team is crazy, and some of the innovations are pretty cool, like utilities. But I do want to point out that just because something looks good doesn't mean it feels good to play, and ABA doesn't feel good to play. For example, the M1 hitbox, it's incredibly buggy and laggy, inconsistent, and overall just makes me want to use the neutrals instead, and I hate that style of gameplay. This is why I didn't main Gaster in AB. Along with the fights lasting forever now, genuinely, the fights in ABA are so much longer than in AB. It takes a good 10 combos to kill an Asgore with a phase 1 cross, and that isn't mentioning how the fight will be slowed down by them, fighting back. It's annoying, repetitive, and it takes too long. Not to mention that jumping has a lower cooldown in ABA, which makes it so much more annoying to catch people like that, especially if it's an Asgore or GT Frisk, who's about to do the aerial version of Trident 1 for the 10th time in a row. I won't get too much into the balancing in this video because every character has so many annoying aspects to them that it would just take way too long. For example, GT Frisk has so many moves that they can't be knocked out of, called super moves, and their ult being activated by literally everything, including projectiles. It's the whole reason people, that's stupid, it's dumb. Especially considering it does, an insane amount of damage. It's the whole reason people hated UTP or Asgore. Asgore's whole playstyle, Sans absolutely melting health and getting a free ult that just murders you. It's a lot. Cross having a free M1 if you use Bones 1. It's a lot. If you want to see how annoying this game is, go check out the game yourself. The link will be in the description and probably in the pinned comment too. It's annoying as hell. Overall, the game just doesn't feel like an Ultimate Battlegrounds successor. It feels like what would happen if you took UTPR, which was a different Undertale fighting game, slapped the AB logo on it and called it a day. Nothing about the game feels fun to play, and it's not even technically finished after 3 years. There's all sorts of modes coming soon. Just overall, it isn't the game that a lot of people were expecting when it was announced 3 years ago, which would be fine if it weren't so abysmal to play. I just wish they had stayed more to the old style and what had made the original game more unique. As it stands right now, the game just plays like pretty much every other Soul Shatterers game, and not AB. Yeah, and this is the end of the video, I guess. If you liked the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Subscribe and join my community Discord, and I hope to see you in the next one.